This right here is DMX's ex-wife, Tashera Simmons. She quotes, DMX knew he wasn't doing right. She claims DMX gained the world but lost his soul. It says DMX definitely knew he lost his soul. Hardly initiated YouTube channel. Let's see what this is about. First time watching it.
Gain the world and lose his soul. Gain the world and lose his soul. I was like,
is that what you define that happened to him? He lost his soul?
Definitely. Wow. He knew it. He definitely knew it. X was such a brilliant man, and he was so connected with God, but you can't have one foot here and you can't have one foot over here. Not with the calling on his life that he did. We all have a calling.
Right.
We all chosen, we all called, but a few of us are chosen for certain things that God is going to put on us to fulfill. And X was one. And he knew his calling. Not all of us know our calling. If we don't dig deep enough, we could live this whole life and not know our calling. And he chose to be over here with the devil and in heaven. And I saw that you cannot play with the devil. He's not powerful. Right. He's only what you give him. And that's what I said. He stepped out. Because I used to try to figure this out. How was such a strong man in God who knew who he was, who knew who God was, fall short like that? But then I found out. It's not like I found out in our marriage. I found out a lot of stuff after. I found out he had a writer because I always traveled with him. He always asked for 2 rooms. One for me and him, and one for his jump offs. Or whatever he wanted to do with it, because it was all, not only him and the jump offs, it was a whole party. I didn't find that out till after. So you can't play in the devil's playground and then go back over here with God and be like, nah, you can't. There's not so much time God is going to allow to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because as you know, X had a serious platform. He still has a serious platform. And I'm only saying this, and it's not in a negative way. I'm saying this because in our last conversations, X knew that he wasn't doing right. You know what I'm saying? But it was beyond his control. And he could have pulled it in, but God had other plans.
We're going to play this again. Shout out to Tashera Simmons. I mean, and I hope this don't come across the wrong way, but I mean, if you look right here, she's clearly selling the book. So this is the same thing I said about that Wale topic, about him denying being held over the balcony by Diddy and his goons. Not saying that Wale is lying. It's just, when it's convenient for people, you can get information if they're trying to push a narrative. Now, is it a bad marketing scheme? Not at all. If I got some information about whatever the fuck and I'm trying to sell something, you best believe the best moment to do it is when the attention is going to be on me, or if I have some newly found information that I can bring that nobody knows about. Especially being someone that was that close to him, an ex-wife. I'm not discrediting her. I'm not saying that she's not telling the truth. But when you're selling a book, especially, and I don't know what the book is about, books are usually, when it comes to entertainment and the music business specifically, it comes down to like, hey man, this is going to be like a tell-all. It's going to be something that is exposing information that we never knew before. It's going to put our legends, or whatever you want to call them, in the light that we are unfamiliar with. I agree with a lot of what she said. You definitely can't play in the devil's playground and then try to be of God at the same time. I knew, you could tell X knew he wasn't doing right. Quote what she said. DMX knew he wasn't doing right. X Earl, Darkman, RP, he knew he wasn't doing right. And that's just like anybody that's doing foul. You know you doing wrong. If you are, and I'm not even making this religious, if you know better, if you have morals, if you have values, if you were taught to walk down a path of doing the right thing, you know when you're doing wrong and you know when you're doing right. It's within you. It's like that inner voice in your head that's telling you, "Hey, nigga, you fucking up." What Dave Chappelle said in that goddamn comedy special? Every black person, every black man should have an old black man that pops into your head or on your shoulder when you're doing wrong. Don't do that, nigga. That's 5 to 10. Don't do that, nigga. That's 5 to 10. We do have that shit internally, but his joke was coming from an older black man. You kind of believe it a little bit more, but it's the same concept. You know when you're doing wrong, bro. Like, there's nobody out here in this world that could tell me when they doing some shit that's foul, that they know they're not supposed to be doing, that is sneaky, they creeping, they doing some conniving shit. You can't tell me that shit don't eat at you, bro. But some people learn how to cope, learn how to deal with it. They do it through, you know what I mean, drugs, alcoholism, whatever the fuck it is. And I'm not shading anybody for what you do. It's just when you're doing foul shit and then you're using these other devices, the drugs, the pills, the women, the alcohol, whatever the fuck it is, the hatred. If you're using that to cope and make yourself feel better, that's when it becomes a slight problem. You feel me? Like, you gonna do bad, be bad. Do bad shit, nigga. But don't try to pretend to be a good person at the same time. Let's watch this one more time on a faster speed so we can get through it. I'm gonna put it at... Nah, that's too fast. You're gonna be sounding crazy. 1.5 speed.
Gain the world and lose his soul. I was like,
is that what you define that happened to him? He lost his soul?
Definitely. He knew it.
So that's what they define, or she defines his habit. You know what I mean? X had a habit. He was addicted. Not even on his own. Like, somebody laced him when he was young and he got addicted to crack. My son was the most successful crackhead I ever saw. My son was doing big records, nigga, like, with an addiction. Major addiction.
He definitely knew it. X was such a brilliant man, and he was so connected with God. But you can't have one foot here, and you can't have one foot over here. Not with the calling on his life that he did. We all have a calling.
Right.
We all chosen. We all called, but a few of us are chosen for certain things that God is going to put on us to fulfill. And X was one. And he knew his calling. Not all of us know our calling. If we don't dig deep enough, we could live this whole life and not know our calling. And he chose to be over here and over here with the devil and in heaven. And I saw that you cannot play with the devil. He's not powerful. Right. He's only what you give him. And that's what I said. He stepped out. Because I used to try to figure this out. How was such a strong man in God who knew who he was, who knew who God was, fall short like that? But then I found out. It's not like I found out in our marriage. I found out a lot of stuff after. I found out he had a writer because I always traveled with him. He always asked for 2 rooms. One for me and him, and one for his jump offs. Or whatever he wanted to do with it, because it was not only him and the jump offs, it was a whole party. I didn't find that out till after. So you can't play in the devil's playground and then go back over here with God and be like, no, you can't. There's not so much time God is not allowed to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because as you know, X had a serious platform. He still has a serious platform. And I'm only saying this, and it's not in a negative way. I'm saying this because in our last conversations, X knew that he wasn't doing right. You know what I'm saying? But it was beyond his control. And he could have pulled it in, but God had other plans.
God had other plans. Hey, man, I'm not the religious guy. I'm not religious at all, honestly. I'm spiritual, but I don't get into the religion. But I mean, I respect what she had to say. She was talking that shit. Hey, how do you feel? You guys let me know. Put some comments down below. I think DMX definitely knew he wasn't doing right, because anytime we saw him, he seemed like a guy that was trying to repent, not for like something that he was doing that was negative and harming people. It was harming himself. He knew he was harming himself. It seemed like he wanted us to know. He was crying out for help.